Grace is in the store buying makeup for a dinner date she and Ben are going to at night. She runs into Lourdes and cannot help but notice a pregnancy test in her basket. Lourdes reveals that she and Jared are trying for a baby and asks Grace to keep it a secret from Michaela. Meanwhile, Michaela and Jared go to the house of the guy who died after jumping off the building. They find, "I am the angel of death" written on the wall. The dead man was trying to figure out the meaning of the callings and came to the conclusion that everyone who comes in contact with him dies. Following that, they go to a bar where the man used to go quite often. The bartender reveals that he used to call himself the Angel of Death because everyone he told about the callings would die. Michaela is shocked because this would mean Jared and Grace's lives are at risk since they know about the callings. In the meantime, Ben and Vance are trying their best to find out where the missing passengers are kept. To find the exact location, they need Fiona's help. They make her visit her contacts at UDS and plant a bug in the office of the SP project head. Through the microphone, Vance finds out the general area of the place where the experiment could be taking place. They also discover that the main mind behind the experiments is someone referred to as the Major. At night, Grace tells Michaela about her encounter with Lourdes and that she is trying for a baby. Grace asks her to move on, but Michaela knows how hard it is to work with her ex-fiancé and watch him be in love with her best friend. After that, Grace and Ben meet at a restaurant to enjoy a night free of all tensions. They used to go on such dates every Friday night and are happy to have some kind of normalcy in life. Upon returning home, Ben is informed of the passenger's death. Michaela also tells him that every non-passenger who was told about the calling has died till now. They decide to not tell Grace anything about the callings from now on, hoping that it will ensure her safety. Suddenly, Michaela gets a call and is told that the bartender they met earlier has also gotten into an accident and died. She goes to the scene and confirms that the callings do kill non-passengers. At midnight, Ben gets a call from Vance. They have found the radius where the missing patients are kept, but without the exact location, they cannot initiate a raid. Ben thinks of an idea and goes to his office to steal the property papers using his boss's keycard. He is sure to be fired after that because there are CCTV cameras everywhere, but he is ready to risk it for the sake of his son. He goes to the office and completes the task without being caught. By the morning, they have the exact location in their hands. In the hideout, the SP project head is getting impatient. Since the Major is pressuring them to show results quickly, the voltage of current given to the patients is doubled. They don't care if the passengers die as long as they get the results they want. Then, we are introduced to another passenger from Flight 828, Autumn Cox. She used to be a con artist before the plane's disappearance, so when it landed, she was arrested directly from the interrogation, but she went missing afterward, suggesting that she was also abducted for the experiment. At home, Grace organizes a surprise barbecue party for Ben, since he has been working hard for the past few days. She is happy that their life is finally getting back on track, unaware of what Ben is up to. A while later, Ben and Cal are outside playing basketball when an injured Autumn approaches him. She was able to escape while the patients were being moved to a new location. She found Ben after following a calling that showed her the way to his house. She doesn't remember much about the experiments other than it was very painful and they were drugged most of the time. Ben takes her to the boiler room where Sanvi and Fiona help her. Meanwhile, in the hideout, the passengers are made ready for the second phase of the experiment. This time, they plan to increase the intensity, which will directly affect Cal and the other passengers. Hence, Ben and the group will have to find them as soon as possible. Even Cal feels the nervousness in the passengers and realizes the result won't be good. Vance doesn't waste time before calling backup and organizing a raid. Jared and Michaela also join them and make their way to the location. However, upon reaching there, they find it completely empty. It is almost impossible because every piece of evidence led them to the building. At home, people from Ben's work come looking for him. In the middle of the party, Grace is told that her husband has been snooping around the places he isn't allowed to. He has been fired and is under investigation. More problems arise when Olive goes to look for Cal and finds him missing. As Ben is discussing the next move, Cal arrives at the scene, driven by a calling. He shows them a drawing of the building and says that the way to the patients is behind a bush. On checking, they find a hidden door at the same place. Michaela takes care of Cal while the SWAT team, Vance, Ben, and Jared go inside. Soon, the guards see them and a shootout ensues. The researchers put the voltage on high and flee the scene. Because of this, the other passengers channel the pain of the ones who are suffering and get a bad headache. Thankfully, the team gets there on time to set the missing passengers free, without any of them getting hurt. Ben brings them outside, but Vance and the others are lost in the tunnels. Suddenly, a loud explosion blows up the entire tunnel system. Michaela runs inside and saves Jared, but Vance and the leader of the SP project is killed in the incident. Grace is glad to have her son back, but furious at her husband for lying about so many things. They get into an argument that escalates because Ben cannot tell her about the callings. In the end, he is asked to move away from the house. He reluctantly does as told, promising to come to meet the kids once in a while. Then, he meets Michaela and the others in the boiler room. When no one is looking, Autumn brings out a phone from her shoes and texts someone. A flashback shows us that she is a spy planted by the SP project leader to find out what Ben is up to. Even though she is one of the passengers, they have somehow made her go against her kind. Following that, the rescued passengers are taken to a beach house owned by Fiona. She and Sanvi do routine checkups on them, because they haven't come back from the comatose state caused by the drugs they were given. Ben is at the memorial service for Vance when he is approached by 828 Gate podcaster Aaron, who wants to interview him. The guy has some insider providing him information about the Major. Since Major is the root of all problems, Ben agrees to listen to his podcast and film one together if he is interested. While taking care of the rescued passengers, Michaela touches a passenger named Paul. The touch gives her a vision of a man walking through a blizzard, saying the phrase, "Find her." Right after the calling, Paul wakes up but with no memory of his past life. Michaela thinks the calling is asking her to find his wife, Helen. In the next hour, all of the 20 passengers who were at the airport when the plane exploded gather at the beach house. Ben wants them to stick together and tell each other about their callings because it is the only way to make sense of it. Some of them disagree, like the pilot Daly. He thinks Fiona is the one who caused the disappearance altogether because she was studying shared consciousness even before the flight. Daly has been losing his mind since they landed because people have been blaming him for what happened to the plane. His wife and son have left him, and the entire world thinks he is the cause of the biggest mystery the world has ever faced. In the following scene, Michaela and Jared find Paul's wife Helen. The only reason she didn't come to pick up her husband at the airport after 5 years was that he was abusive to her before the disappearance. Michaela sympathizes with Helen, but is confused why the calling asked her to find her when she is better off without Paul. Somewhere else, Ben listens to Aaron say Holy Grail in his podcast. He has been hearing a calling of the same sort for the past hour, so he decides to meet Aaron. Together, they find out that the Major is a woman and was on a chopper right before the explosion. They have to take help from the NSA to find out where she was at the time of the explosion. Ben meets Vance's assistant, Tim, who agrees to help him get the info from the NSA. As time passes, the number of people who believe that the passengers are God has increased. One of the passengers, named Adrian, is approached by an 828 cult member who inquires if she can touch him. The man takes advantage of their belief and supports them. When it gets dark, Ben comes home to meet Cal and sees Danny in the house. He has come at Olive's request, but the encounter causes a huge argument between the men. Ben is asked to get out of the house once again, not wanting to fight in front of the kids. He does as told. In Michaela's apartment, Jared barges in, asking her to let him take care of her. The two have grown closer after she saved his life in the explosion. They know they are attracted to each other, but maintain their distance for the sake of Lords. However, this time, they let themselves go and start making out. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on the notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.